Hello and welcome to another episode of the Juan Podcast. I'm your host, Juan. On this episode, we talked to my friend Danny. Me and Danny go way back, as far as middle school. We pretty much grew up together, and we've done music together. I know he writes music. He plays at different gigs here and there. We talk about that, about the creative process and what you go through when you're writing music or expressing yourself. We also talk about life and some of the experiences we've had as far as family and how that's changed us. And we also talk about the new Star Wars movies and how apparently people think they're garbage now. And Danny made some good points. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Here's Catching Up and Growing Up with Daniel Muñoz. I am sitting here today with a good friend of mine. We go way back.
Way back.
You can say we pretty much grew up together.
Yep.
Daniel, what's going on, dude? I love how you came with the Nebula shirt, bro.
Hey, man. That's just, there's something about these designs that when I look at them, I got this from a website called Into the AM. I rep them so much, bro. Their designs, they're all print overs. It's fantastic. Because you know what I hate? I hate those shirts that are just like the design, the little square up front and everything's black.
Yeah.
You know how many shirts I've had like that over the years? It's just ridiculous. I remember opening my closet a few years back and I'm like, nah, I got to get rid of this. Like, I hate this Hot Topic shit. I don't like this anymore.
Damn, dude, I just bought 2 shirts like that, bro.
Well, it depends on what you like, though. But what I like is when it's like more coverage, especially because I'm a big guy. So it's like, you got the beer belly, you got all that. I like it when it's more than just a square or a simple design. I like it when it kind of just takes over the shirt,
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Right on, bro. So I know we've got a lot of interesting topics to cover today.
A lot.
We're going to start off with a question that I always ask everybody who comes on the podcast, and it's a question that we don't get enough. And I think it really sets the tone for everything. Regardless of what we talk about, if it's serious, if it's not serious. But today we're going to talk about some serious topics.
Okay.
But who is Daniel Muñoz? Like, who are you, bro?
Who am I? What's crazy is now, like, meeting up with you again and just talking about podcasting and doing all this. Like, it's weird because if I look back 10 years ago, it's so cliche to say, like, oh, what would you say to the person you were 10 years ago? Like, I would never believe I would be where I'm at right now. I've been on my journey of music. I've been in writing, just video games, talking about just pop culture in general, getting so into movies. I do so much, and it's not to brag about. I mean, it sounds like it's bragging, but it's not. But I get so into everything, and I guess that's maybe a trait of mine that it kind of sucks sometimes because I take on too much, but at the same time I love it because I can never stay still, bro. I work a full-time job and I do my music gigs on the side, and I'm exhausted, but I love that. I love that feeling of just taking in and learning and just going through experiences, because the days that I have where I just stay at home most of the time, like, I feel miserable.
Yeah.
And I hate
agree.
that. I hate that, bro. There's so much to do out there. And even if you don't find anything to do, sometimes it's better to just go out and do nothing than to stay in and do nothing, because, like, I don't know if you've had it, but it's like that self-doubt, that negative mentality and energy that kind of grows with not doing anything at all. It consumes you. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, I've learned to cope with it and distract myself by, obviously more music, now doing a podcast with a bunch of friends and coming on here doing this with you. But, like, apart from that, I've been into writing. I've wanted to write a graphic novel for the longest time, and I've got a friend that can possibly help me out with that. I've been wanting to do a bit of, like, YouTube reviews of movies and stuff like that. Because over the years, like, my jobs and the stuff I've taken on have just been all over the place. I went from working at a Burger King, which was my first job back in, like, 2011, 2012. I stayed there for like 2 years. I don't know how. I jumped from that to doing a job for catering, and I earned a good amount of money from that, but it was still in the food industry. And then, like, I don't know if you worked in food long enough, and this goes out for anyone who's worked in food industry, there's a time where you just go, you know what, I don't want to deal with food. I hate everything associated with food. I hate dealing with people. I want to do something else. I got into a movie store. It was called Movie Stop. It used to be it was like a subsidiary of GameStop. And I worked there for like about a year, and that's when I got more into like movies and the craft and so much more that like it took me from just learning about something from music that was just from a creative stance to just more about art and its form and all together. And that came from that job. It was the lowest paying job I had, but it was one of my favorites because of all that, all the discussions you would have with people talking about indie films, talking about so much other stuff, and even movies about music or music performances and concerts. It was phenomenal. I loved it, and every minute that I was there, I soaked all that in, and it was easy. That job was fucking really easy. You just come in and put shit away. Hey, you got this movie? Where's the Denzel Washington section? Like all that stuff, bro.
Can you put that
easy
on the floor? So
I got you. So apart from that, after the movie store, I went into a bit of like a little rut where like I didn't have a good paying job or nothing. I got into a pretty bad little car accident back in 2016. So I went to this kind of transition where I was like, what am I doing with my life? Because as much as that was fun and as much as I got into like learning and experiencing things, at the same time, you could just kind of reach this point. And obviously, you're in your 20s. You enjoy that freedom, that wild spirit that you'll have about wanting to do stuff. But then you reach that point where you're just kind of like, where am I going? Because I didn't finish college. I didn't have a degree or nothing. And I guess this comes from like past mentalities with like parents and grandparents and family. Because they'll beat that over your head, especially Hispanic families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll always come in.
They compare
like,
you to themselves so much. And
yes.
It's like, oh, at your age, I had this, and this. Is like,
at your age, I had 3 kids and this and that and whatever.
Times
and I'm
were
like,
different.
that's not me. You know what I'm saying?
It was a different generation.
Exactly. And I mean, you could take into account economics and all that other stuff too. But at the same time, it's like you are your own person, but not a lot of people realize that sometimes because they're so caught up in the moment of what they're doing. And it's weird because like when I've talked to my friends about it, sometimes they're like, damn, dude, that's a little too deep. But it's like, you ever wake up in the morning and you just kind of get up and you kind of like look around and you're opening your eyes and you're just going like, damn, like I'm still here. How much more time do I have here? You know what I mean? That's some like deep shit.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I'm like, dude, I'm waking up from my job. Why am I having these thoughts? But like those thoughts will occur in the moment you least expect it, you know? And after I got in that car accident and everything, I was just like, look, you know, I went back to that catering job after that the movie store. And I was like, is this all I really want to do? You know, I got to start developing something for myself, start going for something else.
This was what year?
This was towards the end of 2016. I mean, 2016, a lot of people claim is like the worst year ever. To me, it was like the worst year only by like the last month because all that went down. But I pretty much took a hard look at myself because it was one of those things where I was just like, okay, you know, you're working at a Planet Hollywood at Disney Springs and Hollywood Studios. You're working your retail job. You're working this food industry thing. Is that all you're going to amount to? Come on, man. There's got to be at least a little bit more. There's got to be something there. Lucky enough, I had a friend who said, hey, there's an opening at a paint distribution company, PPG, that's right there by Disney. I went there, and I've been there since, man. It's going to be 3 years now in March. I'm an assistant manager there. It took a long time for me to get my act together. Not in the sense that I've been irresponsible or anything. It's just I never had that thing to grow. You know what I'm saying? That job opportunity to say, hey, you know, come up. You could possibly have a career here. Maybe you could get into a higher position here. Start earning for yourself. Make bonuses, make more stuff.
The fruit of your labor.
And further, exactly. And so ever since that, man, I've been able to buy my own like music studio that I actually wanted, like the materials I needed. Out of that, I started putting myself out there as a musician because as much as I love to perform and all that, I just didn't have that in me. But it wasn't just a job. It's like I said, all the stuff that kind of amounted to that point where it was like, okay, what do you really want to do? And I went for it. I started gigging around Central Florida and Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Hell, I've played a couple of times by downtown Orlando. I mean, and I haven't been vocal about it because, like, I don't know if it's the same with you, but you know when you tell your friends, hey, I'm going to be doing this type of venture. I'm going to do this. And what's the reaction most of the time? Dude, do it. Yo, I'm going to hear it. I'm going to hear every single episode of your podcast. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be right there. I'm count me in. And then they don't show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's... And what you're saying about it really resonated with me, what you said about waking up in the morning and really reflecting on your life.
Yeah.
And saying I went through a depression last year as well, and because of work, you know, and like you said, it's so much, and it's you it makes you reflect and look upon yourself, and it's like, man, do I want to be doing this another 5 years? Probably not,
because it's the routine.
Yeah, no,
you sink
and
into
I
that
call
routine,
that.
and then you're like, holy shit.
I
what am I doing?
I talk about that. I've actually talked about that in other episodes. I call it the deadly routine. That people, they want change. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yes.
And that sense of direction in life. And I think, you know, I'm only 25, and looking back, like you said, looking back on life, looking back how we grew up, like looking back, seeing what other people are doing with their lives, and then the ego in us comparing ourselves to them, like, oh, so and so just did this, did that. And it's almost like, you know, everybody, there's always a sense of envy in everybody, but the way I like to look upon life is I only take advice from people who are better off than me. Because a wolf doesn't concern himself with the opinions of a sheep. So right now, if you're worse off than me and you're trying to tell me, like, give me advice, maybe you have experiences that I haven't had.
And that's the thing. Those are two different experiences. You know what I mean? Like, whereas let's just give an example. If I have a friend who already has their own household, their own family, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, that would be something I want to strive for. But for me, and I know people have that type of envy, and it's that type of like negative energy they have of themselves, that toxic trait that they have.
That's bad, dude.
And it's horrible. But for me, it's like, you know, I would want to strive towards something like that, because in your mind, or in anyone's mind, let's just say, that would be the end goal, having the family, the house. But at the same time,
what defines that, dude? What is the end goal? You don't know. And that's that's what I've always admired this about you, bro. That, like, for example, it's like you don't give a fuck what people think about you, dude. And I've always admired, because, again, what you were talking about the podcast, everybody's, you know, you want to start something, and the main thing that you're worried about is failure. Yeah. You know, yes, you have support, and then, like you said, like, everybody's always down. Everybody, oh yeah, I'm going to support you, and then they don't show up. It's like, that puts you even in a worse position. It's like, man, like, and then being in a job where you can grow and become better, and it's like anything in life. When you know, you're the person that made me, like, start the podcast, because I'd been thinking about, because I listened to Joe Rogan, I listened to all these different people.
It's entirely possible.
and then I seen you like doing one. I was like, that's when I reached out to you. I was like, hey, dude, how do you post it? Because I wasn't familiar with that. And then I started looking into it. And then obviously you've seen me take off with it, and, like, you know, really actually, because, again, I'm in the same position, and everything in life is art. You know, you have your art. I actually want to write a book. I actually had an author friend of mine on the podcast. I did an episode with him about the you know, the creative process, and, like, the steps you need to take to publish a book, and, like, obviously his life, like, you know, with publishing a book and stuff like that. Yeah. And again, it resonates. It really resonates with me, with, like, the sense of direction, and, like, you know, we let society pick for us what is the ideal life, what is the American dream, what is this, what is that, and it's like, what really is it? And you really have to look into yourself to define that. And again, like you talked about, you had a job that didn't really pay you a lot, but you enjoyed it. And it's not you enjoyed it because when you stop looking at, especially like something like this, something creative, obviously everybody wants to make money doing something that they love. But what are the chances of that happening? You know what I mean? Like, you have to work,
especially now compared to back then, you know?
Because everybody has a platform. Like, that's why I feel, and we talked, I think, before the podcast when we started it, of wasting time, you know, when it comes to things. And I took a break from social media for about a month or two. And it was awesome because there's so much garbage and so much toxicity on social media, and there's more bad than good. And nowadays nobody even reads anymore, dude. No. You know what I mean? Like, what do you like? And like you talked about that, some days you want to do nothing. That's fine because we work jobs. You get tired.
You got to recharge.
You got to recharge.
Yeah.
You have to disconnect, and that's another reason why I do sensory deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
Sensory deprivation, like, dude, it's literally just you and your thoughts in there, and anything that you think about in there is amplified. I think you should try it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in there, there's no phone, there's no this, there's no that. It's just you
just
and your
you.
mind, and since the water is the same temperature as your body, you're just there,
right?
and like you're alone with your thoughts. And now that can be a good thing and a bad thing, because if you're in a dark place in your life, it's gonna manifest itself, dude, and it's gonna, you're gonna have to battle your demons in there, and your mind can betray you. So, mindset. I've always talked about this. Mindset is a powerful thing. Law of attraction, dude. Law of attraction. Your mind has power.
Yeah.
And even now, science, quantum physics, they're relating the non-physical phenomenon with the physical world.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I think we live in a simulation. I had a guy on the podcast who we talk about a theory about being in a simulation. We break down all the different symbolism in society and pop culture. All, you have all the Illuminati and all this stuff.
Yeah.
We break all that down and we talk about it. And again, I've always looked up to you because you're always such a creative individual, and I believe everybody should do something creative with their lives, especially me. Like, ever since I started this podcast, I've been having what I call a renaissance, a personal renaissance of, and not just conspiracy theories, but other things in life. I really enjoy theology. I'm not a religious person whatsoever, but theology is like, the way of thinking since the very beginning. Mm-hmm. How they take these ideas, and who knows, maybe there is a higher power, maybe there's not. I believe there is, maybe.
Or like how cultures would like worship the sun, and then
not only that, dude, but
create their whole
their whole belief system.
Exactly.
But not only that, dude, but the similarities between all these, and that's when the conspiracies hit, like, the Anunnaki, like, are we descendants of an alien race? Because, dude, if you look at all these different ancient civilizations, they have the same figure over and over and over again. It's like, wait, is this the same guy? Different parts of the world, different time periods. Is this the same? Are these the same people?
Yeah.
And again, we're it's life. So it's.
But is that, again, it's that mindset and that thing where we were talking about with like maybe it is a simulation. Maybe it's all part of the system. Maybe it's always been something that despite the pieces of the puzzle being different, sometimes they make up the same picture. Yeah,
exactly. So if again, it comes all together to form one big picture. Mm-hmm. So we talked about how you create content, how you want to make it. How do you go about the creative process as far as coming up with things? So sometimes, with this podcast, I'm going to be doing episodes, and with every episode, I'm going to have an accompanying blog post. So I'm going to expand I'm going to have my website, and on my website, I'm going to have, when I launch the episode, I'm going to throw a blog in, whether it be, talking about the topic that we talked in the podcast or whatever, but usually it's going to relate to the topic at hand.
Okay.
How do you go about the creative process as far as, because I know you write music and you were talking to me about doing your first album and stuff like that. How do you what goes through your mind when you're thinking about all these ideas and the creative process itself?
So where I want to begin with, like, the podcast, my podcast is called DudeWhatCoolPodcast. The hardest thing about it was just the name, because
look at mine, dude.
Yeah, like it's funny because it's simple. It's simple, but it serves its purpose. For me, like, I wanted it to be something that just kind of resonates with people in the sense of, like, this is pop culture. It's just four dudes talking about whatever the hell. And it's funny because out of the four of us, I like to talk a lot about stuff, and I'm a sponge. I love consuming media. I love seeing what's going on, whether it's media itself or not.
Media is toxic. That's another thing.
But here's where I'm gonna get to.
Are you a puppet?
Are you a puppet? Right. You have my friend Matt, Big Matt. He's someone that may be kind of like half and half on, like, where he consumes, like, movies, TV, pop culture. You have my other friend David, who's pretty much like he likes just about, like, Spider-Man, Marvel, the standard stuff. And then you have someone who's just completely not along with anything, like Josh.
I like that.
So it's that dynamic where it's like you have one or two people that kind of get what's going on, and the other two are not really there. So when you talk about certain topics, like there was a topic we did about relationships. There's this thing where there was a question that came up that said, hey, so how much time do you give when before you decide, hey, we're going to be a couple now? And it was only the three of us at the time. It was just David, Josh, and myself. And we all gave different answers. I said pretty much it could go as long as it can until both parties feel comfortable. The other person said 3 months. The other person said about 6 months. But we all had different answers because we were like, well, I don't like it when it's like this. I don't like it being quick. And the other person's like, well, if you feel it, you feel it. And it's good. But it's weird because even for me, if I don't go with that answer, like, well, if you feel it, you feel it, then it's 3 months. It's like, you don't know though, because you still, for me, it's like in a relationship, you got to compromise. You got to know how much you're willing to give from your life into that person's life. Cause it's not about you anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, you're around when I want you around. No, that you and that person are that bond. You guys are that unit now.
Oh, trust me, I know, bro. And it changes when you have kids, especially when you live with the person.
Yeah, and when you live with them, that's entirely that's what it is. You know, when you have that sense of sharing your life now with someone else, you got to think about that plus one. You can't just think about, oh, this is what makes me happy and that's it. You know, if you got to give up a day of going to the gym or a day of just you for yourself in your creative process, well, guess what? That's your partner. That's what you have to do sometimes. And sometimes you got to give up a bit of what you're doing. Doesn't mean you have to give it up entirely, but you have to know what you have to attend to that.
Well, that not only, but that's learning how to balance your time and balance life. Because a lot of people, especially if you don't have children or you don't have a partner or whatever it is, that you don't know what that's like. And like I have a problem with that too. Like, every woman is different, but every woman wants to like, oh, cuddle me, and it's like, why can't we just chill? And the same, like,
dude, I used to be like that. You knew how I was. I was very like romantic, that hopeless romantic type of dude back in high school, whatever. And then this, like, growing up and going through these experiences and dating people, it's like you reach that point where you just go, you know what? Like me right now, fuck that. Like, I just want to go home. Let's just have a beer, watch Netflix. I don't give a fuck. Like,
but
let's
again,
relax.
every chick is different.
But every chick is different.
So,
exactly.
And again, that's when it comes to, like you said, like learning that person.
Yes, but even then, person. It's like, for me, if I were to date someone now, I wouldn't mind having a day and, just have a day to relax. Or just, hey, let's go out. Let's walk the park. Let's go do something else. I don't mind that. I don't care about that, because I'm spending the time with that person. You know what I'm saying? And now I'll offer that too. Hey, let's go to a restaurant. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go do this. Let's do anything. Just take a day for ourselves. That's fine. And if they don't want to do it, that's fine too. You know, I'm more open to that. Whereas back then I was always like, oh, I got to do this. I got to go out of my way. I got to like prove myself. And I was like, what the hell are you proving yourself?
That's you, dude.
Exactly.
And that's what makes you you.
Exactly.
Somebody will find that and appreciate it.
Yeah, obviously.
So Danny, back to the creative process, bro.
Yes. Tangents. I love it. No. But with the Dude What Cool podcast, for me,
it's like, what's the name? Dude What Cool Podcast. What's the name?
It used to be like that joke because I thought of it as Dude What Cool. Like, it sounds like a stoner type of thing. Dude, what? Cool. like I don't know. It stayed in my head, and we kept brainstorming names and whatever. But that name, I've stuck with that name now for about 2 years, because I did it once. I started it up once, and I managed to get up to like a few episodes, but then I stopped because other stuff was going on at the time. And again, that was around 2016, so it was like it didn't have the time for me to go back there and do it. But then now that I've had that financial stability to be like, all right, I got everything that I wanted. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's try it out. And the topics just go from anywhere, man. And it's like I tell the guys, we could talk about just regular, stuff regarding culture itself with comic books, or we could just talk about what's going on in social media and whatnot. I mean, one of the things I love to talk about regarding social media has been just that toxicity we've talked about back then with like the being envious and all that. But it's so wild that social media, as innovative and as like positive it can be, it's like tenfold negative. You know what I'm saying?
It's a tool, if used correctly, can be a powerful thing.
Bro,
but if you don't use it correctly, if you're looking at cat memes all day, how far are you going to get in life? You know what I mean? It's all how you use it.
Think about this, bro. You have now, people have the power on Twitter to put, let's say, oh, you support so-and-so. I can't believe you tweeted this out years ago, and you're a sexist, and you're a misogynist, and bro, and people will go for
Kevin
it.
Hart
With the Oscars, he was going to be a host.
That's crazy.
And then they brought up a tweet from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, dude.
That's crazy.
And then they say, no, he can't host now. But he's got to go apologize. He ended up apologizing for no reason.
Yeah, a bunch.
But again, it's like you're holding people accountable for stuff. And Twitter, the people that use Twitter have now taken it upon themselves to be judge, jury, and executioner for anything. And what happened to due process? What happened to evidence? What happened to going by things legally instead of just by social media? Like, that's how powerful it's become, and it's unspoken. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a business,
no one brings it up.
It's a business, and especially like now, social media, they've gone, obviously, Facebook. Data is a commodity now.
Yeah.
And again, you got these big powers at work. Mm-hmm. And they've turned it into a business, just like anything else. It's like Elon Musk.
And it affects everything that we consume. Because one of the YouTubers that I follow, his name is Chris Stuckman. He's a film critique, and he wanted to get into writing movies, directing movies. And someone had told him when he was doing just screenwriting for a script and whatnot. Someone in the business had told him, hey, if you write about something, doesn't matter what your movie is, if you write about something that's relevant with current time, social media, something that's trending, people are going to look at it more now. Companies are definitely going to look at it more. So now you're pretty much these big time studios and anyone else, because it could go even to independent studios. They're looking for the hottest thing, because that's what it is now. Social media is not just
about likes and clicks.
Yes, it's all about what's hot right now. Let's go. Okay, boom, 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 boom.
And
put it out.
They milk it until they can, and then on to the next thing.
It's the same way with Disney. It's the same way with Universal and Sony. All these people just want their eyes, like everyone's eyes, to be on them. The spotlight's got to be on them. And once that spotlight's gone from it, it's like, oh, crap, we got to catch up. What's everyone talking about? All right, we're going to make a movie now about freaking talking about Time's Up and everything else and this and that. And then everything's dated because people are not worried about that anymore. You know what I'm saying? That was the hottest thing about 2 years ago. And I can't believe it's going to be like 2 years now, but that happened now. And then everybody flocked to it.
What thing?
The Time's Up, the whole Me Too movement.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Well, I mean, is that
that's the one where people came out with the
molestation stuff?
Well, yes, with the Harvey Weinstein and all that other stuff. That, hey, all these Hollywood actors and people, they were, sexually assaulting people, raping them and whatnot.
Yeah.
And those people got blacklisted. For example, what's his name? Man, I always forget his name. The guy who was in House of Cards.
Oh,
Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey. He handled his
Everybody's
terribly.
Dead.
Yeah. Everyone's dead now. But like when he came out to try to explain what was going on, he just pretty much was like, well, if I did anything, I'm sorry. By the way, I'm gay. Like, you don't handle it like that.
I wasn't aware of that, but I remember the creepy thing he came out with, talking about Kill 'Em with Kindness.
Yes.
Oh, that was another thing.
Dude.
Because he's a hell of an actor, dude.
Yes.
And House of Cards was one of my favorite shows.
Or the movie Seven, when he comes out as John Doe and he's like, detective, and all that. And, Brad Pitt going crazy. What's in the box? What's in the box? Like, the guy has tremendous fucking
talent,
execution in his craft, man. Baby Driver was another one, which was like the last relevant one he had before the whole thing went down. And the guy's great, but now if you bring his name up, people won't talk about it. And it's like his whole career doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's another thing I talked about on the podcast, because I was talking to my fiance about this, about how there's no repercussions when it comes to these sort of things. Because right now, at the end of the day, and I'm, I like to be a facts guy, but at the same time, there's that part of me that likes the conspiracies, I like that, what if, what if at the end of the day, we're not going to know what were in the emails of Hillary Clinton. We're not going to know if Michael Jackson truly did molest those people. We're not going to know if Kevin Spacey actually did, and just the publicity, because again, no publicity is bad publicity, but it can affect you differently. And just by those people associating, for example, Jeffrey Epstein, they associated him with child molestation, a pedophile, you know, sexual predator, whatever you want to call it. And then he associates himself with Clinton and all that stuff. You already make that association, even if it's true or not. Yeah. So in essence, it ruins that person's life.
So think about it this way. 10 years ago, and I hate that we're just going by 10, but we could go even 20, like early 2000s. Anything that let's give another example of like a Jeffrey Epstein case. Back then, everyone would just bat an eye and be like, all right, cool, he died, whatever. You know what I mean? Like no one would look deeper into these things.
9/11. Nobody looked, you know, they saw it for, because again, we're being fed what the media is telling us.
That is the beauty of the internet and technology itself, that now people, just like
freedom of speech,
or just even the access to information.
Because what we're talking about, maybe somebody will look into it and it might not be mainstream media, but again, there's people out there who talk about it, and just because it's not mainstream doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And again, you know, there's a lot of things that people, you know, like you said, they just look the other way. Oh no, the news said this. What news? Oh, CNN, Fox, like they said that it was, bro. Like,
why are you just looking at CNN and Fox?
I have a problem. I have a problem right now. Our president, and again, you know, politics.
Not to get crazy political.
Politics again. I didn't vote, dude. I didn't vote, so in a sense, I don't have a say. But again, like how Mark Twain said, if voting mattered, they wouldn't let us do it, dude.
Yeah, no.
You know, this is
why
all
do you think they have their system in place that even if she would have won, like, or I guess she did, one popular vote through the system that they have, Trump still won,
bro. But not only that, dude. But not only that, like, it's crazy because they've taken so I believe all government is rigged, right?
Oh yeah,
and they've taken it to, bro. They've rigged it so much. They're not flat out just going and picking one person. They are. You know, this is all pre-written.
Yes,
but they've eliminated it. Do you know how many parties there are? There's tons of parties.
There are.
And it comes down to what? To just two.
Always two.
And again, one of those two is going to win always. You know,
it will be technically three, but no one pays attention to that third one.
Yeah. It's always, they've narrowed it down to only two. They've rigged it that much that it's only two.
It's only two.
Only two people, bro.
Yeah.
So, you know, back again to, you know, when you look into things, you know, you're going to find answers. Again, if it's a conspiracy, if it's not, who knows? But again, people, they like what they're fed, dude. They like that. And I've seen it time and time again, like, especially like on the comments, like, oh no, the news said it was this, so it's that.
It's got to be true. Yeah.
It's like, what? Dude, you don't question what they're feeding you?
That's, I always hate that. And to add to what you're saying, it's like, people now are so complex that it's not just, oh, you're fully liberal or you're fully conservative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, there's more people that are so down the middle, or they'll have some ideals that are both parties. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it difficult
like
for them.
Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. Which of the two evils are you gonna
exactly? Pick? And not only that,
that's messed up.
But what sucks about it is, and I mean, this could go back to just how the mindset and culture is nowadays. Everybody's either you're on board or you're not on board. You know what I mean? You're on this side or that side. There's no way we can work it out. And it's like, why do we have to do that? You know what I'm saying? And to stay on the politics for a bit, and I know it's going to be a little bit everywhere, but like I watched recently, and I guess it was either last month or so. It was whenever Star Wars came out. Yeah, last year. So around December, I watched The Rise of Skywalker, and I come back home, and I'm like, you know what? I got to kind of take my mind off this. Let me put on what's going on. And I put on YouTube, they had the live stream of the Democratic debate. And it's like, none of these people that are commenting or watching this, as I am, are questioning what's going on. One of the candidates was all like, well, you know, I can't believe that you want to strive for lower, middle class and all this other stuff when you're having caviar and expensive wine and all this.
You can't relate.
And it's like, okay, that the problem is,
but what, dude?
Because what they're claiming was, oh, you have your top donors and all these people donating so much money, and the guy goes, well, you know what? The legal limit is $1,800. I've only accepted $1,800 every time, and my thought went to this. I was like, wait a minute, if it was $1,800 or whatever, you're not mentioning how many times that person donated 1,800.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And no one brought it up. Not the people asking the questions, not the other candidates. They're all like, no, I've accepted mine at 1,800. That's the minimum I take.
But how much of the things that they say, especially in those things, how many of those things that they say that they promise, they actually do?
They don't.
They don't.
Because it's the system is set up in a way where people think, yes, the president has a immense power or whatever, this and that. In reality, he doesn't. Because if even when Obama had the House, the Senate, and everything else, it's like
it's a system, checks and balances.
Yeah.
And speaking about the president having power, one of my main issues, talking about the media feeding you stuff, when they were, obviously there's tensions with Iran.
Yes.
When they talked about how Iran shot those missiles towards U.S. troops. How do I know that?
Were you there?
Oh, we're gonna go to war because they shot at us. What? How do I know that, dude?
You know what was the one feeling I remember having? I think this was either 2012 or 2011. Was when Obama came out and announced that Osama died. They killed him.
Oh, where's his body? We threw him out at sea. Like, what?
Yeah, and I felt so. It's not even numb. Like, I felt so indifferent because I'm like, I don't feel anything. So much time has passed from that, and they've been in this conflict, and then they go, well, we got Osama, and it's like, okay, like,
maybe
am I supposed to celebrate? Am I supposed to go crazy?
Maybe Osama was never a person.
Because
who knows?
Who knows?
Because again,
you've seen those conspiracies where they're like, "Oh, he was out in the cave, or he was already
let me throw you a conspiracy right now.
Go for it.
All right. All these places that are war torn right now.
Yeah.
That was ancient Mesopotamia, Sumeria, all these places.
Yeah.
Iraq, Iran,
mm-hmm.
all these places that are war torn. When we first invaded Baghdad, back in 2002, 2003, the first thing they did was go to these ancient sites.
Right.
Looking for what? Again, this is the conspiracy that Saddam Hussein had stargates. And that's what the British and the Germans were fighting over, in World War II.
When they were there, yeah.
Because of this ancient technology, bro. So,
could be.
Again, what do you, if you invade a country, what are you going into museums and doing all this stuff for?
Not only that, just being a world police.
What are you looking for?
Yeah,
that's another problem I have, I love my country. I love living in the United States. There's a lot of things that honestly, the only good thing about the United States, you can have guns. Well, there I said it.
Well, besides that, that was the one thing I normally get a bit pissed off with certain people, is that they want to classify this country as, oh, we're always heading backwards. We're always doing this. We're always doing that. There's so much injustice. And I'm like, oh, hold the fuck on. Like, overseas, there's still people being killed and being beheaded by fucking swords.
Genocides.
By swords and genocide.
There's genocide going on.
Where is that happening here? Granted, yes, are there certain injustices happening here? Definitely. Are we working towards a better environment and stuff like that? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the thing. We're not as bad as people want to claim it's as bad as it is.
For the amount of people
saying?
that we have, we're not that bad.
We're not that bad. We have so much more freedoms, especially a freedom of speech. You go to a somewhere in South America or Cuba or somewhere else or even China.
Well, look
North
at
Korea.
Japan. Look at Japan. Like, those people, dude, they couldn't defend themselves.
No.
They couldn't, and they just had to submit to the government. Yeah, they protested this and that, blah, blah, blah. But if the government would have locked down and said, listen, we're not changing shit.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you going to burn our buildings down? Yeah, we got guns, bro. We'll shoot you down.
Yeah. And there's people that will abide, and if they're part of that system, they're going to go ahead and do it. It's just, I don't know. To me, when I look at when someone posts something saying like, oh, this injustice at the workplace and this and that, I'm like, well, you know what? You don't like the people you work with. You don't like something there. Just change your job.
Change it. Again, and we can take this to go into the new year, new me.
Yes.
Yes. Goals. And again, my thing is, if you're not, dude, from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to sleep, I see those headphones that I have right there.
Yes.
I put them on, dude, and I turn on podcast from the time that I wake up to the time I go like, we're all day at work. I'm always listening to something, whether it be a book or a podcast,
right,
or even classical music, dude. Classical music improves your memory by 15%.
I did not know that.
Sound.
Even I still listen to classical music, but I did not know that.
Frequency and sound have so much power that people don't realize. That's another thing, dude. Like all these songs that they're playing it at a certain frequency that does harm to you. And people don't realize that, dude. Like Nikola Tesla, bro. Nikola Tesla is one of my favorite people. And again, maybe there's a conspiracy behind him. You know, again, this is when we go into ancient
I believe they did him dirty all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, because he was sponsored by J.P. Morgan. You know what I mean? Like J.P. Morgan is like probably one of the biggest, like, you know.
Oh, like, with the Rockefellers and all those
exactly.
people. Yeah,
those are the elite of the elite. These royal bloodlines, and you know.
Yes.
And Nikola Tesla, you know, again, in industry. They talk about how and this is the thing I talked about with the guy who was on the podcast, that the pyramids were, you know, these ancient power plants. You know, like they took energy from the world, from the stratosphere. They found a way to harness this. Again, that's the same exact thing. Nikola Tesla was obsessed with the pyramids, and you know the way that they were not only that, dude, but you have a 13-acre size stone that is in line with it's off by 3/60th of a degree from true north, not magnetic north, from true astronomical north. That's amazing, dude. And people don't realize, and again, people don't ask
and
these
that was
questions.
done without modern technology that we have.
Exactly.
If we tried that, we'd be
How did they do it? How did they do it? There's 2.5 million stones on the Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah.
And some are 80 tons. How? Bro, how? You know? So back to Nikola Tesla. He found a way to harness this power. Again, what would it have disrupted? The energy sector. You know, money. Why don't they find the cure to cancer? Money.
That's always
multi-trillion-dollar industry. Again, I don't want to talk about this, but this is the way I feel. Religion. Yeah. Religion is another society's construct. Why? Because it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry per year. Yeah. People don't like to hear that. No, you know what I mean? But again, who decides who's royal in the world? Who decides what's canonical and what's not canonical in the Bible? Who decides that? The church. Yeah. Who's making all the money? The church. Yeah. Scientology, bro. Yeah. Look at Scientology. Scientology's, dude, they have cities. Yeah. And it's a satanic, demonic religion. Yeah. People don't know that. No. People don't know that. You know, L. Ron Hubbard, dude. L. Ron Hubbard, before he died, he even said, in order to make money, make a religion. Make a religion. And what did he do? Start a religion. Yeah. And coming from a guy who was a science fiction novel writer. He made a religion. Yeah. And, you know, they thought about, they believe that if you pay X amount of money, you can get to this level that you can, like, teleport and leave this world.
I always think when it comes to that, when they say, like, or even in any religion, they say, hey, you know, what you give, you'll get in return, like, you know, tenfold or whatnot. That just
pay me 10% of what you make.
Yeah, or that's like a karma that and themselves they think. Exactly.
Jesus, I owe you. You know what I mean? Like, that's my and again, I'm not bashing religion because I believe in. I got a Bible. I got a Bible on my bookshelf. I was raised Christian, but it's one
of those things. But and I think this is what you're trying to hit. It's that there's people that take advantage of that. The system takes advantage of that. And it sucks because these people, I'll give you an example. I was performing until about 2013 in churches, whether it be Catholic or Christian. And like it got to a point where I wasn't really feeling good.
You can't be
comfortable being there.
You can't be a hypocrite.
Not only because it's so much being a hypocrite, it's like I can't relate to what's going on there. The other people I would perform with, or even the people that I had as friends there, they went through either traumatic experiences, they lost a loved one, they went through this, they went through that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I can't really relate to that because my life was never like that.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Same with my folks. My folks went through a tremendous amount in their journey to moving to this country, you know, being illegal immigrants for about 4 years back in the 80s. In the 80s where that was a lot easier to, you know, go around. But then they became citizens. They went through all this to just have their family here. And it's pretty much their American dream realized, you know. Yeah. And for them, when they go to church and whatnot, dude, they go through the whole thing. You know, they do the whole, they're shaking, they're crying, they're letting it all out. And it's like, I never experienced that, bro. One time, like, people brought me up and they did the whole hand on my head thing. I didn't feel a thing. And it's weird because it's not to brag or anything. It's just, I have not had those experiences to feel that.
It comes,
and it's weird because I always have this belief that's like, I do believe that there's a God, there is a higher power, there's something out there. To me, it's like it's one of those things that it's a personal relationship that you have with that. I could never be part of the audience because every time I was at a church, I was like, let me play the piano, let me play guitar, because I couldn't just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
Because nothing was resonating with me.
Well,
Nothing
that's the
was
thing.
hitting
If you're not passionate about it, again,
yeah,
I believe, this is my personal belief. Again, you can look at me however you want.
yeah.
The Bible is just a manual on how to live life. You got the 10 Commandments: don't kill, don't do whatever.
Yeah.
That's good, because as long as I feel that if something, and it can be anything, it can be art, it can be whatever. If something spreads a positive message and brings positivity, then it's good, So people use the Bible, again, if they had a traumatic experience, and if they find comfort in that, more power
to them. Yeah,
it's making you a better person.
Yeah.
My problem is they've turned it into a business. They,
well, see, that's where it was bothering me.
They categorize you, dude.
Yeah.
So they'll put you in a thing. It's like, well, if you don't believe in God, you believe in Satan. No, I don't.
No, exactly.
Well, that's Satan is the rule of the material world, and if you don't,
what always ruins me about it, especially when I talk about it with other people that are very religious, is that it's the routine, it's the obligation. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I don't want to give thanks. It's like, dude, hell, he would know more that I'd be thankful for being alive and where I'm at
all your
now.
life to prepare for the afterlife, that you're not living your life at all. You know what I mean? Like, you're preparing for something that who knows if it's real or not.
Because back in traditions, like in Colombia, where my parents would tell me, they would go to church like almost every day at 5, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this day, Sunday, definitely.
It's a lifestyle.
And I'm just like, it's a lifestyle, and that's what they grew up on, or that's what they were accustomed to. Nowadays, they'll go to a church every once in a while, stuff like that. They're different now. You know what I'm saying? Like the customs and traditions that they grew up with, they tried to continue, and then they'll realize it's like, wait, that's not really me. And then they see that through their kids and the generation. And it's like another thing I want to bring up. It's like you have to become your own person. It kind of circles back to what we're talking about. It's like, for me, I would want to say, hey, I could try this again. I could try going to church again. I could try this. But if that's not me, bro, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? I have to become my own person.
Yeah, but
doesn't
they'll tell
make
you,
me different.
Pray to God so He guides you.
Yes.
It's like, it comes back to like, come on, man.
Like, it sucks because I don't mention this at all with people, but I'll bring it up here. It's like my mom will be like, Dios te bendiga, and I've never said, like bendición or anything like that, because I was different.
I say that just out of respect.
And that's the thing. It's like, but they've never really tried hammering that down on me. I still tell them like, hey, I love you, I'll see you later. And they're like, okay, Dios te bendiga. And I'm like, okay, yeah, see you later. Like, it's weird because even with my brother and my sister
later.
Yeah, it's like my brother is 18 years older than me, and like they still it's weird because it's like I have this window to an entirely different family lifestyle because of that age gap. You know what I'm saying? And they see me and they're like, Danny doesn't have a degree. He didn't do, but look at that. He's earning this much money. He's doing that. He's becoming successful, finding his own thing.
You find your way.
You find your way.
You find your way.
And it's not that they see me like differently like that. They're just like, it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if it was my brother or my sister, it's like, no, you got to do this now or you get kicked out of the house, or you do that. And it's like, when they had me, they went a different approach. You know what I'm saying? They went more with the, okay, we're going to do this, go through high school, try this, try that. And I mean, hell, dude, with their support, they've always supported me since day one, man. And it's really odd, like, having that discussion with like a brother or a sibling, seeing like how different it is, especially if you've had that age gap. You know what I'm saying? It's like the youngest sibling talking to the oldest sibling, where it's like the older brother will be like, hey, they used to whoop me. And it's like, I was never whooped.
They used to beat my ass.
They used to beat my ass. And I'm like, they never did that. If anything, the most I felt like, oh shit, I gotta, straighten up my act, was when they raised their voice at me. Because they never beat me. They never disciplined me like that. Yeah, we had our shouting matches and they would like raise their voice, but it never went to anything physical. So it's like, I look at how people around me, because I guess I just have that thing where people just love to talk to me about just anything, life in general.
Well, you're a
like
charismatic guy, and that's another thing I like about you, and like I admire about you. Like you go out there, dude, and again, you don't give a fuck what people think.
Damn, I like that.
You
my
go
ass
out,
feels a lot
dude.
better with you kissing, and I'm kidding.
You go out and like with your music or whatever, and dude, you pour your heart and soul into it. And
no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because again, you're a person who enjoys the process, and a lot of people don't do that. You know, everybody's self-conscious. Like one of the things, dude, that I'm gonna try and do, and I'm gonna try and do it. If it happens, whatever, is I'm making this because, you know, I like talking to people about their different beliefs, about how they look at life. And I want to bring something to the table to the listener that, you know, they learned something new today, whatever it may be, whatever, even the dumbest thing, like, oh, I didn't know about that. You know, like, you know, you got something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, I lost my train of thought, but
that you like talking about with people's things that may be relevant or irrelevant, the smallest things and whatnot.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, bro. That's crazy. But you know, just enjoying the process of creating thing, you know, and creating something that you're passionate about.
Dude, and it's not easy. Like,
I'll
be honest with you. Most of the stuff that I'm proud about writing came in my mind like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just there with a guitar playing lightly, not to wake up my folks, because my room is like literally right next to my folks. So I'm just like playing this lightly. I'm like, oh shit, this sounds good. Take my phone, put it on record, and just start doing the little so that way I listen to it on my way to work. I'll put it on the Bluetooth and I'm listening to it and I'm going, okay, I could do this word, I could do that. That's how my like writing process for music has been as of late. Sometimes if I have something in the middle of the day, sweet, perfect, you know, head home, record something and keep that as an idea. But it's not easy. And
no, my fiance, she wants to start a blog, and she's been talking about it for the longest time. And we did an episode about I named it "Taking the First Step."
Yeah, because
our biggest enemy is ourselves.
Yes, always.
And again, that the fear of failure.
Yeah.
Because again, it circles back around the fruit of your labor. When you put time and dedication into something, and then you don't see it grow, you don't see it take off,
and you get
better,
discouraged, and you improve, but you don't see that at first.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about art. You can switch it up.
It's like when I started the podcast and I listened to it the first time. It's like, welcome to Do What Cool Podcast. I'm like, I sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
like, this doesn't sound good.
Because you're your own worst critic.
Exactly. It's the same way with music. I sing something and in my mind I'm thinking it's good, but then I hear it back and I'm like, do I really sound like that?
But just start.
But that's always in general. Yeah, it's always like that at first, but you don't realize how much you improve until like later, and then you look at your first episode again and you're like, damn, I started like that.
Yeah,
wow,
I've come a long way. But
exactly.
I'm notorious, and and I've worked on this because obviously I have a family and stuff like that, and being a father, it changes you. And again, it's another one of those things that you can't relate unless you have kids.
And
it sounds cliche as hell, like oh, you know, you're not a parent, so you don't know what it feels like, but that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
So having a child has really changed the way my thinking and thought process comes, because again, it's not about you anymore.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
It's about them. And like, I don't want to have, dude, and then like talking about religion and stuff like that, like how I discipline my child, you know, I already stopped. You know, I would spank him, but I stopped doing that because dude, they're psychotic. They don't give a fuck. Like you can spank them and tell them no, and they're gonna still do it again. They don't care. You know, they have like this certain drive, and it's like, dude, where do you get all this energy from? Like, what are you doing, man? So
was I like this?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, that's the thing. Like they say that, you know, my parents are always like, dude, you were like that. It's like, damn, bro. But but so like, I've taken a different approach on life, and me as a person, I'm notorious for starting things and not finishing them. And
well, I could say the same with me. I mean,
like,
the last
for example,
time I
like
put
my
up
fishing videos.
Yes,
you know, I made a few, but then it's like you said, it's hard. You know, it's hard, but you have to set a goal for yourself. And like my fiance was telling me, like, she's like, man, it's so hard. Like I see all the time you put into it, all the research and everything, and like if you work a full-time job, there's people who do this for a living, so they can dedicate 100%. It's like, man, that sounds really good, dude. But you got to remember, they're getting paid. Joe Rogan makes like 6 figures per episode, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's all he does.
With sponsorships and all that.
Yeah, everything, you know.
But you know how much easier it is, and this is, you know, not just for you, but like in general with anyone. Anyone can start a podcast. These phones that we have, their microphone capabilities.
Super computer in our pocket at all times.
Always. Despite us talking about how, you know, the worst things that come out of using the phone and media and stuff like that. You can create yourself anything nowadays. If it were up to me, I could upload my whole album right now just based off this phone, because all I have it is set up at a way where I have the guitar playing, and you hear it and you go, holy crap, dude, that's good quality. And you would think I recorded it out of my studio at home, and no, it's the phone. I've had people tell me that.
So there's no excuses.
There is no excuses.
But people, again,
holding yourself back,
taking that first step. For example, what I was telling you before.
Yeah.
Consistency. You know what
Consistency. I'll give you another example. Back in 2009, you remember how I used to, I still kind of do, listen to Mayday Parade, those old bands and whatnot. I had a video that was how to play Miserable at Best, because no one had a tutorial on how to play that piano song. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it, whatever, this and that. Bro, fucking, it grew. It got about like 100, either 110 or 120,000 views.
Really?
Back then. That's from to right now, it still has like 120,000. And what was crazy is that, like, I remember looking at that and just going like, dude, I did a re-upload because I was terrible at it. I was like, so, you play this, and you play that, and you play this, and I kept saying, and I'm like, I got to redo that. That sounds terrible. And then I did a re-upload, but it's pretty much a whole separate video of the same tutorial, just a lot better, it's like more comprehensible. People can listen to it and be like, all right, whatever. And that one got like 30-something thousand. I did another one with, yeah, and it's still a lot. And what's funny is that I look back at that and I'm like, if I would have kept that going, who knows, where it could be. Because
you were in the early stages of it.
Yes, exactly. And not only that, it's like there was a market for that. And there is pretty much still a market sort of for that. For tutorials, anytime, anybody, like when people ask me, where did you learn piano? Where did you learn music? Dude, YouTube. I didn't have to pay a single dollar.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand the wealth of knowledge that there is on YouTube when it comes to absolutely everything. But another scary part about it is that it's an organization and they control what is on there. And that's what it became now. It's a business.
Yes.
It's a business.
So when you look at these content creators over the years that made a living off of that,
all these algorithms and all this shit. They're seeing exactly. They're showing you what you want, what they want you to see in a sense.
Exactly.
And it's starting to get harder and harder to find other things.
Like for me, I wanted to do a movie, but when I did the podcast, I wanted it to be based off just movies and comic book movies, whatever, Star Wars, this and that. But then I started realizing, dude, there's so much of that. Not only with YouTube,
you have to find your niche.
But you got to find, you got to find your audience.
Speaking of finding your niche, I'm the kind of person I've done everything.
Right.
I've done music. I'm obviously doing astronomy now. It's my telescope right
there.
Yeah. I'm doing this. I do fishing. Things that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. But out of the 25 years of my life, I haven't found that thing.
Right.
That I'm 100% invested into. You know what I mean? Like.
But something good that you can take out of that though.
I've jumped around.
But that's the thing. You were able to take that on.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. So if it didn't go through, then I can't go back and
but you can't just
30 years from now say, oh well, I never tried that. So who knows where it could have gone?
Exactly. So it's like, you do have that woulda, coulda, shoulda, but at the same time, what I try to take when I have to pretty much leave something unfinished and I don't go back to it, it's like, look, I didn't finish the book that I wanted to write, but you know what? I did something. I have my files here. I did this. I took this upon myself, and I learned more about the industry. I learned more about the craft. Hell, you have so much knowledge yourself that you took yourself. You know what I'm saying? You took that first step, essentially, and you didn't go through the door entirely, but you found out that you were able to pick this up. Mm-hmm. Whereas so many other people are not capable of doing that.
They don't take that first step.
For example, I was in a band in 2012, Water's Edge.
I remember.
And the most we did was Hard Rock Cafe, a battle of the bands with just like 5-6 people in the audience. But like, what was so great about it, this is the positive I take out of that. It's like I saw A Day to Remember the following year there, and in my mind the whole time I was like, dude, these guys in one of my favorite bands, they're playing on the same stage that I was playing with my friends. I'm able to say that.
If you play your cards right, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. And that was just off a whim. We spammed the hell out of everybody that we knew, and friends and family. We're like,
you have to.
vote for us, go this, and you put yourself out there. And when you do that, like, great things happen. And yeah, sure, the band didn't end up working out, but I can't look at it as this was just terrible. It just didn't go nowhere. Some of them did, you know, some of them had that mentality. But when we talk about it and we got together a few months ago just to do like a run through of the songs and stuff, because we hadn't seen each other in a while. We were just like trying to catch up. And it was funny. We brought up good memories and everything. Yeah, those are the things you have to take away from that and go, dude, we managed to do a lot. Yeah, it sucked that we didn't go through with it or anything, but it's like, you know, and our lives are different now, but it shouldn't take away the positive. Is what I've always tried to stay in this positive mindset of, like, if something doesn't end up working out, it's for a reason. You know,
well, that's
maybe
the thing.
That's not meant for you.
We go
maybe
back
you gotta go
to everything will fall in line when it should.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe it didn't work out for you then.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
What are your views, especially like being and making content and making art, because everything is art. You know, everything is a craft.
Yeah.
Whatever you do in life, no matter what, you know, even if you're a janitor somewhere,
Yeah.
that's an art, dude. Because if you're not good at what you do,
Mm-hmm.
then what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're hired to clean toilets somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you better clean those toilets.
Yeah,
You better
exactly.
clean them good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You better be good at that. What's your take on, you know, as far as criticism and like when you take it or like giving it? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'll be honest with you. I'll put this with music, because with music I understand everything clearer with that. When I started gigging and I went to different restaurants, bars, and whatnot, I would invite people. Sometimes most of them wouldn't show up, and it was understandable. You know, everyone's got their own life and whatnot. Some people support, and it's all good. But in all honesty, you get that real criticism you're looking for is out of the people that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? The people you meet for the first time. I've had people come up to me and tell me, bro, I've never seen a musician switch from Africa by Toto to Take On Me to playing what's it called, Shawn Mendes song, and then going to Bruno Mars, and then going to play freaking T-Pain. Like, that is ridiculous. You're the only one that does it, and it sounds great. And it's like, it's cool to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, it's like, some people may not like that. You know, some people may just like something standard or whatnot. I'm the type of guy that likes to mix everything. So if I have a song that I want to perform, I'm going to perform it first off my way. You know, it's not going to be the same tune. It's not going to be the same notes, because it's like you could do that off your phone. I'd rather do it, change the key of it. Instead of playing it fast, I'll play it slower. I'll go on so many approaches that, like, people will recognize the song, but they're only going to recognize it more because, hey, I like the way that you did it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I strive for. Yeah, when I post my stuff on Instagram or Facebook, like, I get more outreach on Instagram than I do on Facebook. I don't post on YouTube because, forget it, YouTube, unless you're doing something trending at that point, then that's how it goes.
But who knows?
Exactly. So that's like my approach to it's always been like, you got to expand from your environment. You got to expand from your setting. This album that I have coming out, I'm going to name it the Sunset Sessions. And it's pretty much going to be this concept of, like, you know, songs that you do when you're like just chill, songs about either love or just kind of like your inner thoughts and life and stuff like that. And some of them are old. Some of these I wrote back like a couple years ago, and some I just wrote like a few months ago. But this was something that in my mind, I'm like, dude, it's already going to be a new decade. It's going to be this. Yeah, it went into the whole new year, new me thing, but it's like, how much longer are you going to wait to do what you want to do? You have a big arsenal of stuff. You have a bass, 2 electric guitars, 2 acoustics, a ukulele now.
No excuses.
I have so much stuff and a home studio. What is your excuse? What are you waiting on? And all the time, it's like I've been waiting on having more, you know, friends who are musicians to help me out and give their input and this and that. But it's like, dude, you can create this. What are you waiting for? You cannot hold on to this any longer, because the more you yearn for it, the more time passes by. And then what, you're just going to wait till your passion's not there anymore? There was a point that I did this in New Year's, and it was like this long thing, because I'm not a very open person. Not so much that it's not that I'm open. It's just like with close friends, I'm open to a certain point, because what happens with me is that I'm pretty much the therapist friend. Everyone comes to me with their problems, talks to me, this and that. But like, I don't usually get the, hey, how are you? Hey, are you feeling all right? You know, I don't usually have those times to vent until I do with my, 3 close friends. But it's one of those things that people know me and consider me a good friend, but they don't know more than just that. You know what I'm saying? They don't know more than what they've been given. So I opened up a bit and I said, hey, look, to be honest, if it wasn't for people like, supporting me and actually telling me, dude, keep going with your dream, keep going with music. Why'd you stop music? Keep going, get it out there. Like, I would have given that up a while ago, probably 2015 or so. But I've always had people cheering me on, and I can't forget that. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff has stuck with me a long way. That it also contributed to the whole, like, dude, what do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Okay, I had to put the music aside a bit, get that full-time job, work hard,
Because you have to survive. You have to,
exactly. And then when you have that, allow that to come back in. Because I used to take that approach back then when I did the band and everything. Oh, jump on this. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's, put money into that. You're working your part-time job and pays you, bi-weekly. You're living paycheck to paycheck. But come on, let's do it. And it's like it never worked out. And it's like this time, this approach that I'm doing, I've made the most for myself without anyone's help, and it was something that when I saw the results of that, it's like, yeah, I had people cheering me on. Yeah, there were people that gave me advice and credit to those people too. But at the end of the day, it's you. You are the one that creates what's coming for you. You know what I'm saying? I never thought I would make more than $300 at a gig ever in my life.
Playing for somebody?
No, playing, just being pretty much at a restaurant,
Open
at a bar.
mic?
No, bar, restaurant, just playing, and they would pay me a $150 fee, and then the rest is just tips.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're making money playing?
Yes.
I thought you were just doing, dude. I thought you were just doing open mic.
No.
Oh,
I did that for a while.
This changes everything, bro. I want to start gigging.
Let's start
too.
this over.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. It's like I've earned a lot of money from that, dude, and it was crazy because when I found out how much I made, and it was like over $1,000 that I made just from gigging and stuff. I'm like, dude, this is great. This is the most money I've made.
It makes
besides being in the band.
Yeah, money. So that.
But it's not so much about the money. It's more about the sense of like, can I do this? Will people be interested?
You
Will
can
people
make it work.
Look, you know what I'm saying?
But
because
that's
I know
the
it
thing.
sounds so much like, oh, it's just the money. It's not so much that.
No,
it's
no,
the
but
sense of
don't feel bad because of that, though.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. It's that reassurance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because someone will stop by literally with a 20 in their hand and be like, dude, that's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? People don't have to do that. Some people will spending $5 enough is enough to make people just like go, I don't know if I could spend that.
Yeah.
And some people go out of their way. So if they really like something, then they show you. I mean, I've always been about that mindset too. Why would I spend $5 on something that I don't really think is that great? But then I see another person create something that, even if they're on a startup, but I'm impressed by it. I'm like, dude, let me get that art piece. Let me get that. I'll definitely buy that. It's
showing support and not only that, but spreading positivity because maybe you made that person's day, and like you said, like
because back then I never thought in my mind that someone would tip me or give me money.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, again, it goes back to the fruit of your labor. Like you're making something. It's art, dude. People are gonna interpret it, and it's not gonna resonate with everybody. People are gonna take it the way they want.
Yeah.
Maybe it touched that person in a way that it didn't touch the person next to them. That's why maybe they didn't give you a tip. But I feel like, and I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day about how he's making. He's almost like ashamed of saying that he makes money off his YouTube videos. He's like, yeah, dude, and I do make money off the videos, but I don't like to. I don't do it because of that. But it's like, dude, why are you like ashamed almost of like making money? It's like you're putting your work in, you're putting your time in, and if you can make money off of something that you love, more power to you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's awesome, dude. Like that's great. But I thought you were just playing open mics, dude.
Nah, bro.
But
no.
A quote I wanna put in a quote that how you were talking about it relates to this people's opinions and stuff by Marcus Aurelius. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. And again, this comes back to that mindset of being your own worst enemy and this society and culture of everything's based upon likes and how many comments and how many views you can get, and it's like it takes the fun out of everything.
Oh, it does. And don't get me wrong, there have been performances where I would just make, the minimum of the, whatever they pay me, or if not, it would have been like
still, dude, but $150 in a few hours.
Just 3 hours.
Just to play. That's more than people make. It's way more than people make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's $50 an hour,
and I
bro.
mean, if you go with a band, just to give you a bit of insight, it's like if you play with a rock band at, like, let's say Soundbar or somewhere downtown Orlando, you're pretty much making back you have to first get 25 people to buy tickets, essentially. You got to get 25 tickets pre-sold. Some depends on who you book with. But the booking company will be like, look, you got 25 tickets that you have to sell bare minimum, and then from that you get like a $5 per ticket.
Yeah.
That's what you get paid to you. So some guys make about 30 or 100 or whatever, but sometimes they don't make anything at all because if there's not enough people there.
It's all about exposure
but
things take time.
And that's where it gets tricky, because if you look into this industry, you'll have people reach out. I've had someone reach out, and I'm not going to drop names or nothing, but I had someone reach out that said, hey, we're going to have this event, right? And it's going to be for this type of company and this type of thing, and this is how much we're willing to pay. And I was like, all right, cool. Come a few days before the event, and I'm ready. I got all my stuff ready to go, and it's all good, whatever. And then they go, hey, listen, we don't have enough money in the budget for performance and entertainment. And I go, well, so what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that I'm pretty much just going to be playing for free then? And they're like, yeah, but it would be a great way for exposure. We'll put your name on a banner and everything. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Because I've had other people reach out, and even if the event was small or whatnot, they still, their word was their bond, and they went through with it.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that even if this was like a city official or anyone else, you have the money for it. You just don't want to pay because for you, it's like, oh, this is just art and performance art. It's whatever. They need the exposure.
It goes deeper than that, dude. It goes
and
deeper.
Of course, yeah. But it's in my mentality towards it, even when I've talked to friends who are in bands and whatnot, it's like, look, how much longer are you going to stay in a band that you're just playing in Central Florida? What's your goal here? Are you want to tour? You want to go around the world and and perform? That's anybody's dream. Hell, that's my dream. But you got to play it smart. Why are you just marketing yourself in Central Florida? That's not the goal, dude. You got to get out of here. Not saying, no, you got to move out. You got to start distributing your music out there. You got to, if you have to put the money down for a $5, boost your exposure and stuff to other people.
Oh, I'm going to be doing
that.
I'm going to be doing that because, again, like you said, exposure.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I don't right now, bro. I've had people reach out to me like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're going to listen to the podcast. Like, well, it's not out yet.
It's
so,
not,
like, it's not out yet. It's going to be out soon. But like,
but that's your approach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You would rather have a finished product at the moment and go, what?
Yeah, because dude, you don't even know how many times like I
because it's like a TV series essentially.
Like I've wanted to put it out. Like, oh, I'm like,
and you're gonna have that pressure because trust me, like coming from myself, that it's like
that's the thing.
I used to do the weekly, and I still kind of do, but it's every 2 weeks now. But it's like every week it would have been like the open mic, right? I used to do that for a while, and then it was like, oh, you got to perform 3 songs. Every time I would have gone, there were people that were playing the same songs every week.
Damn.
And then what I thought was, well, I'm not gonna be like the rest of these guys. Let me start learning more music. It gave me that drive.
Dude, but learn many songs. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
It's like an encyclopedia of songs. Like literally, like I remember in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, how the hell does this kid like remember all these songs and like all the lyrics? And I was like, what,
dude?
The hell?
And it was late nights, man. There would be some nights where I'd stay up and I'm like, set the piano to low volume and I'm just singing to myself, just humming it out. Like what helped me was at high school, I would take the keyboard. I was always a piano guy. All the time. And I'm in the middle of the hallway, bro, and I'm singing horribly. But it's literally me practicing because I'm like, if I put more practice to it, I'll get to it. And I was made fun of for it. Like people would make fun of me for the singing and all that. But then towards 2011, when I graduated, they were like, dude, this guy's got it, And that was part of the thing that made me go, okay, let's keep this going. This is cool, Of course, the weirdest step was joining the metal band because I was just like, my favorite band's Coldplay and
doing like screamo and stuff.
And this is like with screamo and everything. It was so weird, but like I made it work. I started listening to different things, and my friends got me into a whole bunch of other stuff, and it was cool. Like, I never thought I would like Kill Switch Engage as much, System of a Down and all that. I mean, System of a Down I've listened to since you, but I didn't listen to more of their stuff of what they showed me with, like, even with like Aerials or you know what I mean?
I was actually
like,
listening to them last night, dude.
Oh, dude, it's just you listen to so much other stuff, and it grows. It grows your mindset to just like, okay, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that. And hell, even now, dude, one of the things I did for New Year's, right before New Year's, I kept sharing a song that I would listen to from Spotify. And I always go to the Discover Weekly, or I start a radio station on certain songs, the most obscure stuff people have never heard. And I kept getting message after message going, dude, I never believe I never heard this song. That's so cool. I like this one. Yo, anything else you recommend from these guys? And it's like, people don't. It's like what we talked about before. People only take what they're given, what's fed to them.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. Finding new music, I don't listen to new music. I listen to the same.
When
thing
people
over
tell
and
me
over
what's trending, I was like, oh, this song is good. I'm like, how? Like, that's just.
But
ridiculous.
Reddit has helped me with that. Finding new music.
But that's what I mean. Like, dude, you have a music library. It's not just the iTunes anymore like we used to do back then. It's not LimeWire.
Yeah, gave my computer AIDS.
Exactly. Like, you have so much to go through that you don't realize it. You see it and you consume it, and you're like, dude, this is now a song that I like. And then when you see that artist become more popular, like I was listening to M83. They have a song called Midnight City, and I remember listening to that and going, damn, this is good. And then I saw them on they were on that movie Warm Bodies, where that song was being played. They had a movie called Elysium that they did a soundtrack in. I'm like, holy shit, dude, like, they made it out there. And I heard them when they weren't that,
A Day to Remember.
The Day to Remember, another one. Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, they're huge now. And I remember going, and like, I've seen them twice already live, and like, when they first started, there were some guys from Ocala, dude.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And now look at them; they're rock stars now.
Yeah,
they're real big.
It's weird because, like, for me, like, I don't listen to them regularly anymore, but I did see them towards the end of November, and
their sound has changed a lot.
Their sound has changed, but it's wild because, like, I look at them and I'm just like, damn, like, I still like these songs, I still like that. But it's been such a journey seeing everything else, you know what I'm saying? That I'd be like, yo, if I see some obscure band, like, let's say Thank You Scientist, I love that band. It's like listening to like a weird anime intro type of music. Really? Yeah, and then they just jump into this. It's so wild, bro. It's so wild because, like, there's stuff out there and people don't know about it. So when people tell me, hey, you listen to this, and I'm like, dude, that's no. But again, sometimes I get good recommendations though.
In a way, it comes back to culture and society. Sometimes, if you're super Christian and you're conditioned that way, you're not going to listen to all these other things. No. Why? Because it's secular. Oh, it's not Christian. I can only listen to Hillsong or like whatever, like Christian.
And that's the thing,
rap,
man.
And like
it's the same with me in country. Like, I started opening up a tiny bit to country. But I don't like that twangy shit. I don't
Makes
like
me want to shit my
pants.
Like,
I like it when it's more bluesy. More like you're jamming bro.
I like. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called something jazz. Like the newer style, modern jazz. I think it was called.
Okay.
Like that. I like that sound.
Or even lo-fi, bro. Lo-fi has been. It really calms everyone down.
Like the intro.
Shit.
Like my intro.
Dude, yeah. Exactly. It's just one of those things that people, like, there's a market for all this stuff, and it's just, unfortunately, we're not at that point where people are going to be more open to it because people just take what's given to them. And it sucks, but it's like we're slowly getting into that point where it's like, dude, you could do this. You could listen to that. You don't have to just... What the TV? It's the same way with TV, bro.
How William Shakespeare said, "The world's a stage."
Yeah,
and like again, you take. That's what I always come back to. What have you done in this lifetime to really make a difference? What are people gonna remember you for? You know what I mean? You know how many people just and there's different factors in life.
And it's a mind-bending question because you just want to be like, "What's my legacy? What's this?" What
not that though, dude. But like, there's so many factors at work. Like right now, maybe somebody who has to work 3 jobs to support a family because they're a provider for their family. They don't have time for that creative process. They don't have, maybe they're exhausted, and that's understandable. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you got to make the sacrifice to do something creative, and a lot of people lack that drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, hell, there's people I know that would work 2 jobs, still going to school, has a kid or something, and they still find time to, you know, go out and
I
believe
it's necessary. And again, and I know you want to speak to about this, and I said something about this the other day, about how when you're hurt, you know, if you hurt a body part, you break your arm, you know, you have a condition, whatever, you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Right. You go to the doctor if you have, you know, there's doctors for everything. There's cardiologists. There's whatever kind of doctor is, you go to that specialist. But one of the things in society nowadays is that we don't consider mental health. Where do you go? And not only that, but admitting you have a problem. Like
I'll share an experience.
All these dark thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've had, you know, and I think everybody does. Like sometimes you'll be sitting by a bridge, like, oh, what if I jumped?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you have those thoughts. It's not like you're gonna act on it.
People don't speak about it, but it's true.
There. And like what happens, like
it's like when you're cutting something with a knife and you go, what if?
What if I just stabbed somebody? And it's
what?
like you think about that, but you don't say it out loud because now, like, society doesn't. You know, that
you don't play around with that.
There's something wrong with that. And like, you know, and like we talked about venting, like it's important to vent and to let your feelings out because everything, again, that's the thing about floating, dude. Like, if you're in a dark place,
I'll tell you, one of my flaws that I've still to work on is pretty much talking about stuff when it upsets me.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's one of those things that I don't know if it's just because it's like, as cliche as it sounds, it's like, oh, because you're a man and you got to man up and face your problems and stuff like that.
Society's conditioning, again, and goes back to the same thing.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, sometimes with my folks, they'll like sit me down and be like, hey, you want to talk about it? What's going on? And it's like, it's as minuscule as it can be, where the most that it's bothered me, it's been like, oh, you know, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have a partner. And I hate feeling that way sometimes because it's like, look at all the stuff that I have. And if this is the way I always have the two-way thinking about it. The first way of thinking is I'm alone. I hate that I'm alone and I want to spend some time with someone, right? That's the first way of thinking. And it's like, I would want to have that. I would want to have that type of companionship, understanding, whatever. That's the end game goal. Cool. But the second way of thinking is, okay, hold on. What do you have going on in your life right now? You got your full-time job, you got your music, you have your gigs, you have your podcast, you have your movies, you have the things that you like to do. Are you willing to make time for this person? Because they have needs too. They have this too. Think about it. You know, if you're not mentally comfortable, like, you know, compromising, because it's always a compromise. You got to meet halfway.
And you can't waste somebody's time.
And you can't waste somebody's time. You can't be like, oh, babe, I would like to go, but no, I have this podcast episode I have to record. I already, you know, made you know, things with it and plans and whatnot. Oh, no, I have this premiere I have to go to. I'm sorry, you know, this and that. Yeah, you could take them along, but at the same time, you got to take their feelings into consideration. Maybe they don't like doing that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it added to that. And then that's where I start going, okay, you know, that, but I don't talk about it with people. It's always that two-way street of thinking that I have.
But don't feel bad, dude, because you have to be selfish.
Yeah.
You have to be selfish and you have to figure yourself out first. Again, you can't help others unless they can help themselves. And if you're in limbo with yourself and, you know, with your life, you know, why are you going to drag somebody into that?
Exactly.
Like, figure yourself out first.
Yeah. And
then maybe, just maybe, even in the process of finding yourself, you'll find somebody who's gonna see that.
I mean,
you're
hell,
going
my taste in women have changed now to where it's like if they tell me, oh, I've just been home doing what? Nothing. It's like, you're not working? No, I called out. No, I don't know. I don't think I like that.
Yeah, you don't have that. No, I agree.
Can you give me a ride?
I agree. It's like, do you want a Mongolic?
Bro, it's like I have more attraction towards women that just love to do something. They're either at their job, they're working, they're always busy, they always find something to do. It's like, wow, you have no time for me? Shit, you're hot as fuck, bro. I love that. Yeah. But I love that because it's like they have a mindset. They want to do things. They want to, you know, either put themselves out there, whether it be at their career, at school or whatever, and they're striving for that. And I love that in a person. It's not so one-sided, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like a girl that just kind of like follows you around. Like, I don't know if you ever seen like with like one of your boys or something, just the girlfriend that's always there.
Yeah.
And there's like, she's just a quiet, timid type, but the first impression is like, she doesn't seem interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
no,
she doesn't
yeah.
seem like someone you would want to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And there's many people that I know that are timid, but they're so like, dude, there's so much to them, but that's the impression they give off. You know?
Well,
because
I mean, you know,
But they're
depending on
just
how you
different.
are, if you're
Yeah.
not comfortable around people, you know, that's the way you're gonna
now,
be.
I do want to share this experience in regards to like understanding, and I guess this was more about understanding the whole mental illness and just how serious it got in my life. My dad had a stroke in 2013, and you know, fortunately, he made it through. He's fine, but he went on disability and he couldn't work again, and he was a truck driver. That was the biggest blow to him. It was like the biggest heartbreak he had, because when he recovered and he came out of the hospital and came to us, you know, like it was the first time I saw my dad like broken, you know what I mean? Because the way he would explain to me, it's like, you know, I can't help but feel sad because now I feel like I can't provide. I feel useless.
They don't know anything else.
They don't know anything else. Exactly.
My dad went through a similar thing. He was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Ooh, damn.
And it comes back to the same thing, to where I saw him and it changed the way it changed his way of thinking, because he thought he was gonna die.
Yeah, and it was the same with my dad, because like, you know, his heart stopped for a few seconds and they brought him back, and you know, like it was a very close call because it happened in the middle of the night, and you know, we ended up taking him, and it was wild, man. It was so wild, and like seeing him in that recovery, it's like, you know, it's great to see him back, but you see the after effects of it, you know what I mean? And it took a while. It took like a good year for him. He had to go to meetings. He had to go, you know, these group sessions. And even he felt like he didn't belong in that, because all he ever knew was just working hard, providing for his family and stuff like that. And there were other people that were just, you know, in drugs and all this other stuff and in rehab. And he also started like thinking, that's not my problem. You know, that's not the issue that I have. The issue that I have is that now I just feel useless. Why do I feel useless? I got to find other things to do. I never really took time to do other things. And it's like, even through that, he would give me these talks and say, hey, you want to do this? Go ahead, do it. You know, try this out. I know
how your dad was, dude.
And my dad has always been like that.
He's always been supportive.
Yeah, he's always been supportive. But there was that time he was just so sad, and we would be very worried, because even he admitted to us that he felt like, you know, he should just die. And it's like, I don't know why I thought that way, but it sucks, you know, because it happens. And it's in that whole thing that what we brought up earlier. It's that quiet. It's your thoughts playing those games on you.
Your
you know?
mind is a powerful thing. And that's why I believe that people, when they know they have, you know, they were just fine, they go to the doctor, they have stage 4, whatever.
Yeah.
After that visit, dude, they die weeks, months after.
Yeah.
Because again, that's what prayer is, dude. You know, prayer is believing in something. And we go back to the law of attraction, believing in something so much. Prayer, you're saying it over and over again. It might not happen the first few times, but when it eventually happens, it's because you thought of that enough to manifest it. And again, it goes both ways. It can be good and it can be bad, because if you're thinking that way and you're in a dark place in your life and you're thinking like, man, I just want to die. I just want to die. I just want to die. Yeah. It might happen.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why people don't understand that. And it's just crazy to me, because yeah, it sucks saying that I went through depression, but I did, dude. And it's not because of where I am in life. You know, I love my life. It was just my job. You know, the stress of being in that.
It drains you, dude.
It drains you so much. And it's like.
And as much as I'm telling you about how you know, my life has progressed and stuff, my job is not easy. It's a lot of stress. You have to deal with ridiculous people that just have all these expectations from you. And I mean, it's Disney. You know, it's like. Yeah. I'll give you an example.
Where dreams come true.
Exactly, right? When the time I started, 2017, they were painting Avatar, the whole Pandora land. Yeah. And it's like, there's these unrealistic expectations, because this warehouse isn't really that big, but like when it was implemented there, it was in like 2000, you know what I mean? And so you go back to the year 2000, you only have, you know, the 4 parks and a few resorts, whatever. Go to 2020, dude. There's like all these huge, expansions. Bro. It's a city, and they're expecting this tiny warehouse to, you know, just deliver on all these expectations of, hey, we're you know, touching up this place. We're painting this hotel. We're doing a remodel on here. We're doing this, that. And most of the stuff I do is like automotive paint and special types of paint that go on.
That's what you're doing now?
That's what I'm doing now. I don't paint anything. I just make the paint. So,
I got you.
You know, and then they distribute it out there. But it all adds up. And then people take you aside and go, hey, guys, got a question on the phone. Hey, by the way, we have a meeting real quick. We got to talk to you about this project. Hey, we got this, we got that. And it doesn't stop. You know what I mean? And if you don't take that second for yourself to go, okay, I got to do this first, that first, you know, it just piles up and it goes crazy. And if you don't have that support system there, because we used to work there with only like 5 people. Now we got 15. So it really tells you how much you got to have on deck. It's really exhausting and it drains you. By the end of the day, there's some days where I go home, I'll go to the gym, you know, just take my mind off stuff, like play a little bit of music, record a bit. And then other times I just go home and I knock out because I can't help it. Like I could try, I could push myself for it.
But not only that happens to me because when I'm tired, I'm out of it. You know, doing homework when you're tired. But
you gotta recharge, because if you just you constantly push yourself like that, everyone's not the same. You know, I've had those conversations with people because it's like, I would want to lose a bit of weight and stuff like that. Not because I used to have those thoughts back then too. We're like, I'm a fat slob, whatever. But it's like, no, I would want to be, you know, more active. I don't want to just go through the same routine of work, home. I want to do other things. And that's when I started developing that thing for myself with the music, with the podcast, with movies. And it's like now I do so much that whatever bothers me at some point, it won't be relevant because I'm distracted, you know, and you got to keep yourself distracted. Sometimes I tell people, take up something you've been interested in. Hey, you like crafting? Dude, just go to a Michael's, go somewhere. Amazon. Hell, Amazon is easy for you to just look at something, pick it, and it arrives same day or whatnot.
Yeah,
you know, you don't have to go and dwell on things anymore. You can make it happen.
Well, that's another thing. Like that stuff right there is like my fiance wanted to start a jewelry making.
That's what my sister-in-law does.
Business, you know, like making these type of bracelets. And again, what if nobody buys? What if nobody orders? It's like you're already you've already failed because
you're thinking that.
You know, just do it.
There was a girl I followed on Twitter that she was a cosplayer, but then she went into doing that, and she shared one time, she's like, you know, I only had, you know, $200 to my name, and then I started this, and I didn't get a client for weeks and stuff. And I thought the worst, but then I kept going, went to other conventions, went to this and that, started making money, putting it on internet and everything. And now I have customers. Now I'm my own business. You know, I have my own license. I have my own thing. You have that
vision. You have that drive.
Exactly. And people don't go into that thinking that because they're stuck in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're only stuck there. And it's like, you got to follow through. You don't follow through, you don't know. And hell, I'm a victim of that too, because even when I started my stuff, I was like, I don't know. This is kind of weird. I don't know if people are gonna like it, but you gotta go and do it. You don't know what's gonna come out of it, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of Disney and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up on this point. You know, on something changing the topic completely different. But you know, I'm glad you're finding ways to, you know, make your dreams come true. That's what it's all about.
Oh, please don't make me go pro Disney.
No. So,
hiya, Danny. Where's my fucking paint?
What, dude? Speaking of Disney, what are your thoughts on the new Star Wars?
Okay, boy, here we go. Well, first I have to understand. It's not going to change my opinion. Did you like it or did you not like it?
I loved it.
Okay, that's fine. Completely all right with that. I can't lie and say that I wasn't entertained by Rise of Skywalker, because I was. There were some things that I felt like the trilogy definitely needed. But here's my problem.
And I have all 6 movies right there, dude.
That's more than fine.
Like, I'm hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars before it was like, you know, like
now here's where my fandom comes in, at least for me. I've always been just pro movies. Always. I've always been about the movies. I've never done the expanded universe stuff. I've never done anything outside of the movies, because to me, Star Wars has always been the spectacle of that blockbuster. You know what I mean? It's always been that. And the moment where you have to expand on stuff, I don't mind that, because everything
milk
now,
it, bro. You
gotta milk it. I understand. But for me, I always love the movies. The movies just stay. The prequels, as much as you could criticize it, and it's bad where it's bad, definitely. It's like it came from a vision of one guy. He wanted to do it his way. Cool. Now these Disney movies, the thing that I gotta express is that now, after watching this movie, that second movie feels so out of place. Last Jedi feels so out of place for me.
I agree.
So, like, I didn't enjoy Last Jedi. And at the same time, I wasn't one of those internet geeks going like, they fucking ruined my childhood. No. Here's the weirdest part. And I'll start off with this. How is it that you have that casino scene, right? And you have Rose talking to Finn. And
when they're looking for the guy? When they're
looking for the guy.
Yeah.
And she goes up and she says, war is the one thing that just blah, blah, blah is so bad, and capitalist is bad and these people supply it. She's telling this to the one guy who's already experienced war and was part of a system that was going through it, okay? Now, mind you, I hate what they did with Finn overall because I feel like Finn had so much potential. Even with the Rise of Skywalker, they just pretty much hinted he's got some force ability.
He's like
problem.
a number 2 now.
He's like a number 2. Yeah.
Almost like you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
With Jon Snow?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it.
I don't want She's my queen.
Yeah.
So here's my problem. Like, Last Jedi set up so many things and left it in a way where you just go, where the hell are they going to go with this? Right?
Yeah, I agree.
And with Rey, it was like, okay, she's no one. You know what? I was fine with that. A lot of people said that they didn't like that. For me, I'm like, you know what? Let it be separate from Skywalkers. Let it be separate from Kenobi, all that shit. Just, all right, let her do her own thing. I get it. Cool. And then in this next movie, they undo all that. They gave her storyline of being no one to Finn.
I don't know if...
You know what I mean?
Like, I saw the movie in 4D. Mm-hmm. And that was my first 4D movie. And I don't know if it's because of that, but I enjoyed it, dude. Like, everybody was
I felt the sand on my asshole.
It's bad. It's this and that. It's like...
No. I think for me, where it starts... Where I start getting angry about it is altogether. You know what I'm saying? Because now the story is inconsistent.
Well, they have to do that, dude, because they have to, again, they're already working on the next movie already?
And I think Taika Waititi's probably taking it. The guy from Thor Ragnarok, the guy who directed, yeah. They're probably going to go with him.
That's another problem, dude. They switch these directors back and forth.
This is where my anger comes in. See, people just, like, there's
some friends
of mine.
Did J.J. Abrams do the last one?
He did, yeah, Rise of Skywalker. But...
No, this...
Rise of Skywalker.
What was the one before that?
Last Jedi was Rian Johnson.
Really?
Yes. And now that's where I want to get into it a bit with the Disney Star Wars stuff, because to me, the one movie, and I know you might feel different, the one movie that felt the closest to Star Wars in its aesthetic, in its look, but not in the story, because the story and the characters were really lacking, Rogue One. Rogue One had the closest look of what a 1970s movie would be in modern times.
I like that one too.
I love the scale of it. Like when they showed towards the end of the third act of the movie, I always loved the battle sequence was great and all, but I didn't feel like anything was at stake because obviously you know what's going to happen at the end. But disregarding that, the scale of like the AT-ATs, you know, the AT-ATs just going and the guy looking up and you're like, holy shit, look at this thing. The way they shot that Death Star, making it look like it's a menacing thing, while you're forgetting the fact that they did a planet-sized one in Force Awakens and you just didn't give a shit about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, there's no creativity to these things anymore.
I feel like they
but that's always
they've run out of ideas.
Out of ideas. It's creatively exhausted because it's like, well, what do you do? And it's like J.J. Abrams' approach of it is, well, that was a Death Star. Fuck it, let's just make it a planet-sized one. It's like, all right, we did the planet-sized one. What are we doing for Rise of Skywalker? Well, all the Star Destroyers have planet-killing capabilities. Why?
What?
Why are we multiplying this by 1,000? So it's like, it's cool in theory because...
But they're in another dimension.
Exactly, right? I thought they were going to do some time-traveling shit because that's what every franchise ends up doing towards the end of their run. It's like, Doctor Who does its stuff with time travel all the time. No, for its finale, let's just start it all over from the beginning and then come back. It's like, why? Dude, like, you can't think of anything else. Same thing
There's
with...
Hollywood for you. And it still made $1 billion.
And it still made $1 billion, which that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, and I'll always tell people this, at the end of the day, and this correlates to what we've been talking about, money does not mean everything. Box office to me does not mean shit because
it just means a lot of people went out to
yeah, exactly. But then you look at the
good marketing,
the results. Yeah, and then you look at the results. People are not satisfied with it. Critics didn't like it, but now the people loved it. And then Last Jedi, critics liked it because it was extremely different, but people didn't like it. The fans didn't like it because it just went against everything that was set up in Force Awakens. How are you going to set up that? Look, her bloodline is important. Force Awakens left it as, oh, she's this important character. Who could she be? She's powerful. Who is this? She freaking Jedi mind tricked someone on her first try. She went against Kylo Ren, who was trained by Luke Skywalker and all this and was in the dark side. And she did that. Dude, she's got to be important. No, you're no one. So how does that? It feels anticlimactic, you know? As much as I liked it, the execution of it didn't feel right because I'm like, that's not what was set up. You know what I'm saying? And granted, when Empire Strikes Back came out, yes, the whole reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's father was crazy. And some people didn't like that either. But there was still a story being told there because it only concentrated on your 5 or 6 main characters. Whereas with this new trilogy, this series, you got Poe, you got Rey, you got Finn. So you're thinking, okay, this is going to concentrate between them, Kylo.
Yeah, bro.
But now you got the old people back too.
It blew my... Dude, you can't lie, though. It didn't blow your mind when Palpatine was back.
I hated it.
You weren't expecting
I didn't know because here's the problem.
And
with
like
Palpatine
how she is like the granddaughter. Like,
well, but
bro!
Here's the problem that I have with that. The fact that Palpatine is back, it's like... First off, it undoes everything that was important to Anakin Skywalker because his whole arc was what? He fell to the dark side. He was a guy who had so much potential as a Jedi. They put him as the chosen one and everything else. And he went through his tragedy and finding his kids again and thinking that he couldn't be redeemed. He redeemed himself by killing the fucking, embodiment of evil. Yeah. Brought back balance to the Force or whatnot, even though now technically he was never gone. So what the fuck was the point of that? So it undoes that for me.
He killed Mace Windu, bro.
I know.
He killed Samuel Jackson.
But Sam Jackson dies in every movie. It's all good. I'm kidding. No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's like his arc and his story was always important because, like, even the prequels help. The prequels, the most I enjoy is just Revenge of the Sith, but it still delivers on that story of this is a guy that, he thought he was going to save the person that he loved. He didn't. He fell to the dark side. He became a slave to it. He thought there was no way for him to come back from that. And at the very last moment, he decides to come back and do something about it, just so his kid doesn't get killed. It's poetic. It's great. But to bring him back, it's like, I would have been fine if they brought back Snoke. You know what I'm saying? Like Snoke, yeah, it was crazy that they killed him off on that, but I'm like, there's got to be more to that.
It's like so much work.
But then what did they do? What did they do with him? They put him in like pickles in a jar, talking about he's clones. I'm like, this is stupid.
What? Yeah, no, I agree.
Dumb.
Maybe I just watched it for like the movie itself.
Well, that's the thing too, because now, like when I talk to my friends about it, it's like, what is Star Wars to you? Is Star Wars something that just revolves around the Force, the Skywalkers, Palpatine, and that? Is that it? Because the world building itself for the new trilogy wasn't that well done. Mm-hmm. How are you going to tell me that the First Order has this grip on the galaxy now, taking out the New Republic, when at the very end of the trilogy, now all these ships and all these people come back to fight? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And they try to justify that by saying, well, they demilitarized a bunch of the ships and the military and this and that.
It's like they have an army,
but
no,
now they
it's just a bunch of random people. Bro, that killed me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what are we talking about here? What are we doing? So, again, this falls back to people then telling me, oh, you're thinking too much of it. You're supposed to turn your brain off. Excuse me? When we watched the first couple of movies that came out with the original trilogy, you didn't have to turn your brain off. You knew what was going on. I'm a fan. It's still real to me, damn it. The thing with me is that the story itself, it's always about story, bro. It's not like, well, if you look at the agriculture of that year, I don't think about it that way. I think about it, okay, if Palpatine was gone and he was doing this army for all this time, what is the point? Especially when people bring up, oh, if you didn't see the extended universe, whatever, and Battlefront 2, it's like a video game. Why am I going to a video game? It's got to be presented in the movie. It's not presented in the movie. When he came out the first time in Return of the Jedi, he was an imposing person. Like you saw a glimpse of him. There was hinted in Empire Strikes Back, and you go, who the hell is this devilish looking guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Return of the Jedi comes in. They present him, and you go, who the hell is this old hag? What can he do? And then what did they add to the lore? They gave him lightning. Not because, what's something brand new that we can add? Like, no. They gave him lightning because it wasn't established up to that point that you can do that, right? And when they show him doing that, they go, shit, the dark side, you can't fuck with that. That's some crazy shit. So then...
That's some woo-woo.
Yeah. So then when they go to this new trilogy, one thing that I will admit that I loved was when they introduced Kylo Ren and Poe shoots that laser at him and he holds it midair.
That guy's the ugliest guy in the world.
He's the ugliest guy in the world.
Damn,
I'll get to that.
I can do Hollywood. This guy's ugly.
The
Dude.
biggest nose.
Yeah, right.
No, but he holds that thing, right? And I go, holy crap, what kind of powers does this guy have? What other powers does he have?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. What did they develop as Kylo Ren's the guy you can't mess with? Why? What has Rey suffered?
Because he throws tantrums.
What has Rey suffered? Let me ask you that. What obstacle did she ever go through compared to Luke or Anakin?
Finding who her family was. Nothing else, really.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like her
Trying
arc,
to talk to Luke.
Like, here's where my issue comes in. Luke Skywalker, farmer boy. His family gets killed. He has nothing else to live for. You know what? Let's do this. I'm going to do this mission. I'm going to make something of myself. Goes off in an adventure. He ends up destroying the Death Star. He has this encounter with Vader. He finds out that he has his family lineage and all this stuff. But he fails. He fails at Empire Strikes Back. He didn't fully train. And not only that, he lost a limb. He lost his hand.
Yeah.
He suffered. By the beginning of Return of the Jedi, you see this arc where they time jumped and they continued and they go, dude, this guy's a badass now. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's not taking the safe approach. He wants something. He's going to choke the shit out of people to get there. And then you look at Rey and it's like the first mistake they made was from The Force Awakens to Last Jedi. It was literally like a 5-minute interval in between those movies. They didn't time jump or anything.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So it's like you continue this and you mean to tell me that she's going to have some type of feeling for Kylo from Force Awakens to Last Jedi. She became friends with Han Solo. She saw a father figure in him. She witnessed Kylo kill one of her father figures to then later go train with Luke, who she's never seen, who a few days ago she thought was just a myth.
Yeah.
And then go into this whole thing about trying to train or whatnot, has that forced Skype call with Kylo, and then start thinking...
Forced Skype call.
And then start thinking, maybe we could save him. Bitch, are you crazy? You just called him a monster like 20 minutes ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it felt so like shoved down your throat. Like
it's a conspiracy, bro.
And that's what, like, to me, it's a story, dude. The ultimate bad guy for this new trilogy should have been Kylo Ren. It should have been.
And you thought that's where they were going to go with it. But.
And that's where you think you were going to go with it. But instead it's like, oh, no, I'm a good guy now. Whatever. I have schizophrenia, so I'm going to think of my dad.
What now?
And just, he apologized. I apologized. I didn't even have to apologize. He's
what now?
That's the question. What do you do with them?
Now they have the Mandalorian.
Now Rey is like all powerful, all great. She never suffered any consequences. Literally no consequences whatsoever. She's perfect at everything that she does. Finn, the only thing I've been interested with Finn and Poe is because Poe had that leadership role he had to attend to. But even that was fucked up because they don't tell him what the plan is in Last Jedi whatsoever.
Yeah,
then I'm like,
did him dirty.
Are we seriously doing this? What are we doing? What is this? And it's annoying because it for Disney, I always thought they were just serving this agenda of like, look, we want to put a female character out there. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You want to do that? That's fine. But you got to give me a good story. You got to give me a person that is going to, first off, she's going to suffer consequences to her actions. She's going to get herself hurt. She's not going to look a pretty-faced British, woman from beginning to end, and all you changed was her clothes, her color from, dark to white.
A different colored lightsaber.
And that's what's annoying to me because Star Wars to me has always been about, look, yes, it takes place in a galaxy that has, battles and all this stuff. But the main focus has always been about its characters. The problem with this new story is that they gotta not only attend to their new characters but the old ones as well.
They're too deep, bro.
And the one thing that has always pissed me off is the fact that we never got a reunion of all 3 main characters.
They're in too deep.
And it's like, instead they go, okay, we're doing it every 2 years. It's like, on page it sounds great, but what's the roadmap?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about it earlier. Now it feels out of place. So now you just feel like watching Force Awakens to the Rise of Skywalker, because Last Jedi just feels completely out of place.
Yeah.
There's no purpose for it. I think with Mandalorian, I loved Mandalorian. There's some things that
I haven't watched it.
There's some things that made me feel like, because it's only like half an hour each episode.
Well, I haven't watched it. I don't have Disney Plus.
I gotta, now that you remind me, I gotta take off Disney Plus now that wrapped up. Well, because it's too many streaming services out there. But anyway, the problem I had with Mandalorian was that there's some things that felt like it was too much, like, what's it called, like plot filler, like just kind of side filler, not anything that was important. But as soon as you start having that thought of like, well, that was kind of like a waste of time, like the episode ends, so you don't feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
The last few episodes are great, but like I understand the purpose, because they have to establish this character. It's a character you've never known before. But the reason why I like it more is that, yes, it's the aesthetic of Star Wars, but at the same time, it's completely separate
it's another
from everything. And that's something that I've been wanting. I've wanted a bounty hunting Star Wars type of show or content that is just separate from everything. Because to me, Star Wars has a very rich world that the lore itself, it's like there's other creatures, there's other stuff. The one show or franchise that I feel like has really succeeded with that for a bit, but then they suffer the same thing because they end up going back to the same shit, is Star Trek. Because Star Trek was
I
always...
never saw it.
Well, with Star Trek, the reason why I say is because like they do have like either a monster of the week or a villain of the week or something like that. But the thing that it's impressive about them is that they are more conservative, as to where Star Wars is all blasting, action fun. They're more thinking. They're
more political.
Yeah, and they're like, what's better for the planet? What's better for us to do? Do we save these people, let them die, or let this virus continue to affect other people?
I say fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things that I always like it when a franchise tries something new, and some don't do it right. Hell, you have a thing with like the new Doctor Who, which is a woman now. A lot of people went against it. But I said, you know what? Let's try it out. But unfortunately, it didn't do well for me. Why? Because the story doesn't land. She just goes off being more of a person that, oh, she's our secret weapon. Whereas the other ones, it was like he felt so like, he couldn't make up a choice about whether to help out or not, because again, it was the same thing. Do I help these people out and save as many as I can, or do I let the planet just destroy itself and just let it be contained there and not affect other planets? It's always that, what's the lesser evil, you know what I mean? And I've always liked that, and not that I want that in all of media, but it's just the fact that it's got to be a good story and good characters. If it's not there, then I'm not gonna like it. That's why I've had my problems with the new Star Wars, because even with the new stuff they have at Disney, people are not going, bro. It's low attendance. There's something going on. Just put the Han Solo lookalike up there. Just get Palpatine. We'll put him up there. It's not so much that, bro. Yeah. People like that because they grew up with that. They enjoy that character. But if you don't provide another character that it can be like that or different from that and grow upon that, then there's nothing new you're adding here. We're just going back to the same thing we started from. That's why, for me, Star Wars, and I know I've ranted a long time now about it, Star Wars is just, there's more that you can do with it. There's more you can expand upon with it. And when people tell me, well, yeah, there's a whole expanded universe that they have, I'm like, yeah, Disney retconned that. So much for you telling me to go read the expanded universe. Why should I read it? It's nothing. Now they're recreating all these things, taking from the retcon expanded universe that they just canceled. You know what I'm saying? They take now from all these other mediums that were done from other artists and other people that contributed to it, and now they're molding it to their vision. And that is just terrible.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I mean? Because Disney's always been like that. Oh, all these classic stories, Little Mermaid, freaking Beauty and the Beast and Hunchback of Notre Dame. We're gonna Disneyfy it now. It's done in our vision. That's how the stories are gonna go now. It's not those stories ended in tragedies. We're happy. We're happy. We're this and that. We're Hamlet. Nah. Let's give them Lion King. Lion King isn't gonna work. And it's like. Disney's notorious for that. And it's like now you look at it, if you look at it from my perspective that I've been watching media and just looking at the behind the scenes stuff, it's like Disney has a movie out almost every month.
Bro, it's a business.
And it's a business and they're taking over all that. So where's the creativity? You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Same thing with the directors of these movies. First they had Colin Trevorrow who did Jurassic World. They had him for episode 9. What ended up happening, he came up with a few movies after Jurassic World that didn't do so good. Disney went, we don't like your ideas. Out. Gareth Edwards, the one I mentioned for, he did Rogue One, which was my favorite. They had to do reshoots, and they did it without him. They did it without him, so they got a guy named Tony Gilroy to do the editing and the reshoots, and they didn't ask for him back. He doesn't want to work with Star Wars anymore. And he was a big Star Wars fan. He thought it was getting a good break because he was an independent film artist. So now it's like they're getting these small-time directors, these big budgets and everything because they think, we could just whip him into shape and he'll do whatever we want.
Whatever to the wall and whatever sticks.
And at the same time, you have Lord and Miller who did a Lego movie. They did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I believe. They did all these funny little movies and stuff like that. And they bring him on to do Solo, that Han Solo movie.
I haven't finished it.
They redirected 90% of that movie, and they fired him. They fired them, I have to say. They replaced them with Ron Howard instead to do the whole movie, pretty much the whole movie over again. And what did they end up doing for the year 2018? They went to Sony, and then they helped finish Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And then they won the Oscar, the Academy Award for Best Animated Movie.
I like that movie a lot.
Bro. And it's like, you mean to tell me that they couldn't deliver on a Star Wars movie? Get out of here.
Yeah.
That I don't believe that argument.
They don't give them enough freedom.
Yeah. They don't give these people enough freedom because at the end of the day, it's Disney going, it's got to be safe for everyone. Yeah. We got to. And it's like, I tell people at the same time, I'm like, okay, you love Disney. You're crazy about Disney. Do you really think they spend $4 billion on Star Wars to appease the fans? No. Because they make a movie, they streamline it, put Disney on it, and put Star Wars on it. People are going to go and flock to it.
No matter what.
They did it at first, but then as the years went on, it's like, wait, we're getting a Star Wars movie every year?
People realize it, yeah.
Exactly. So then people just kind of went, I don't want this anymore.
And again, this comes back into like everything that we've talked about.
It's all a business, man.
All full circle.
It's all part of the system.
Again, call it a conspiracy, call it whatever you want to call it. It comes full circle, and they're gonna.
But I always tell people, don't get creatively bankrupt because you see everything else the way it is. Because yes, cynicism is a thing, and yeah, you have to kind of call out the bullshit on it, but you shouldn't let it affect your craft. You have so much power yourself, from your mind to your hands to your thoughts, to put out anything out there. And there is an audience for it, whether you think there is or not. Even if you don't get attention on it for the first couple of weeks or months or hell, even years, keep going. People get their breaks. People have their breaks and they end up getting something to them. So
I think that's a really good. I think that summarizes everything that we've talked about. I think that's a good ending point.
Hell yeah.
Damn, Danny.
Let me bring up one tiny thing. I never thank you enough for that. That time back in high school, or I don't think it was high school. I think it was middle school, towards the end of middle school, where I had a guitar and you had the piano. And it was like one day you came over to my house and you're like, dude, let's try something. And we didn't know shit on any of them. You had that same little scale that you would play. Yeah. I would just go da 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 da. And I don't know whose thought it was. I want to say it was probably you. You were like, you want to switch for a couple of of days? And that's what happened. I went on with the piano. He went on with the guitar, bro. I swear, bro, there's one of those things that I feel like if that wouldn't have happened, like, I don't know where my life would have gone, bro. It's really one of those things that, like,
that's life, dude.
It's life, man.
I really appreciate you coming out today.
No, thank you for having me.
We could definitely do another episode.
We definitely are.
We can break down movies or whatever.
Hell yeah. And I'll bring you over with the guys and we'll just laugh it up and just have a good time.
We'll do something, dude. But Yeah, man. We'll end it on that note.
Yep.
What's your social media, Danny?
So social media, follow me anywhere from Instagram, Snapchat, or even YouTube at Daniel Rockstar. But it's spelled like this: is Daniel, then RCKSTR. I've had that same username for like years. You guys have no idea. Years.
And what's the podcast? Because you guys
the podcast is Dude What Cool Podcast. Just look for it all together. Dude What Cool.
It's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere. Spotify, Google Podcast, everywhere.
Okay. Cool. So you guys heard it from him. We're going to go ahead and end it there.
Hell yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you stuck around this long and enjoyed this episode. Remember to follow us on social media at the Juan on Juan Podcast. You can shoot me an email if you want to be on. If you want to hear anything that you want me to talk about, shoot me an email at the Juan on Juan Podcast at gmail.com. And thank you for the support. Until next time.